Congress is really the central institution. And I think it's very important to understand that two things. The framers assumed that the Congress was the core institution. But second, they didn't think that was entirely good news. There's a lot of worry in the writings of the framers, in the Federalist Papers, in their various letters, and in the notes of the convention itself about the dangers of an excessively powerful legislature. That's a problem that strikes us now as a little weird because we tend to think the president is too powerful. Some people think the courts are too powerful. I think very few people now think Congress is too powerful. But the assumption of the framers, and you find this over and over in the Federalist, is that what it means to live in a republic is ultimately to live under a government that is dominated by a legislature, and that this creates the danger of majority tyranny, a constant worry for the framers, especially for James Madison. And so the Constitution does empower the Congress, but it also divides its power and counterbalances it. The assumption was that Congress would be an arena for negotiation, an arena for contention, that it would really be the place where differences in society are worked out and represented. And I think there are a few things to say about what that means for national unity. The American system is not a direct democracy. It is a representative democracy. That's how Madison understood the meaning of the term republic, which was so important to the framers. And representation is not just necessary because our society is so large and not everybody can sit in the assembly, but representation is also a way of refining public views so that they become actually capable of moving government action. And so representation is a way of elevating and refining the views of factions and of forcing them to negotiate with and contend with one another. That's the magic of Republican government. And it happens only in Congress. If we say negotiation is a core element of how we deal with differences, negotiation is not a characteristic of the executive branch, as the framers understood it. The executive branch is unitary, its purpose is action. Negotiation is not really a function of the courts either. The courts are fundamentally about interpreting the meaning of the law. They do resolve disputes, of course, but they resolve disputes about what the law means, not what the law should be. It's only in Congress that there is a process of negotiation that happens. And I would say a regime that is an American republic that is dominated by Congress is an American republic in which negotiation is how we solve problems. So that when Congress is weak, as it is today, we become very bad at negotiating through our problems. And we tend to think about winners and losers in a different way than I think our Constitution means us to think. And so Congress is central, whether it likes it or not. When it's working well, our system is working well. When it's dysfunctional, our system is dysfunctional. And today, I would say a lot of the problems that we who worry about the system attribute to an excessively powerful president or courts or the growth of the administrative state, I think just about all of those problems are actually the result of the dysfunction of the Congress. Congress not doing its job distorts the role of the courts, distorts the role of the president, and creates all kinds of other problems in the system. And the core problem to solve, and really, in a sense, the argument that I would want to make about how to help our system advance unity, the core problem is Congress, and the renewal of congressional capacity and congressional functionality is the chief problem we've got to fix. I think everybody agrees now that Congress is broken. That's an easy one. But what is Congress failing to do is actually a question that divides a lot of reformers, let alone a lot of citizens. Some people think Congress is just failing to pass legislation. It's failing to pass the stuff I want, and that's very frustrating. But I think that the answer that the Constitution would give us is that Congress is failing to facilitate cross-partisan bargaining. And that actually pushes in almost the opposite direction from where saying Congress is failing to legislate would push us. If it's just failing to pass the stuff I like, then we need to get rid of the filibuster. We need to make it easier for the majority to do what it needs to do. We need to make Congress more like a European parliament that just empowers the majority for as long as it holds power. But if we think, as the Constitution suggests, that the purpose of Congress is to facilitate bargaining across lines of difference, then I would say we actually need more mechanisms like the filibuster. We actually need more ways to make cross-partisan bargaining necessary rather than ways of making it less necessary so that more partisan legislation could get passed. there's certainly a cross-partisan coalition of reformers of Congress, and I'm in that coalition, but I think among us, we disagree about what problem we're actually trying to solve, and therefore how Congress needs to change. And that's had a lot to do with why it's been hard to get change to happen.